If you want to see how world-class players structure points, make technical and tactical decisions in their point play, stay right here, because I'm going to walk you through a fantastic practice point that I came across from Holger Rune, the young guy from Denmark who actually took a set from Novak Djokovic at the US Open. If you like this format, if you are keen on seeing more of those point analyses, let me know in the comments if you have a favorite player that you want to have analyzed. If I can find good footage, I will do so, because this is how I watch tennis, and I want to let you get into my head a little bit. When I'm watching tennis, I am looking at it from a lot of angles. So technical things such as grips, swing path, contact points, swing shape. What are the tactical decision-making components? When does a player recognize that a ball is a little shorter or lower quality of the opponent? What are they then trying to do to take over the point? How do they force a weaker reply off their opponent? And of course, then athletic things such as footwork patterns. That is all that I'm looking for. So tennis to me is a really fascinating sport in that, because I do have the insight and I can look at all these things. And of course, now as a coach, I'm also looking at things that I can share with my clients, because not all of the things that world-class players can do are also accessible for us regular mortals. So I always want to see, do I have something in a point or in a match that I can point out to clients that they can replicate? And I think there are one or two things here that we can all take away from and work on. So this is Holger Rune, and he is definitely a guy that you need to keep an eye on. He took a set from Novak Djokovic at the US Open, and he should be higher ranked than he is. However, with the pandemic and the frozen points, it's a little skewed. So he will be somebody whose name you will hear a lot more in the future. So let's start with the point play here, and let's look at one of the most fundamental things that everybody should do, but a lot of players still have issues with. So let's let this run, and you're seeing a backhand exchange. Now, you see where the ball is going to be. It's going to be on opponent guy. I don't know who that is, so I'm going to call him opponent dude. You see that the ball is going to be in the middle here somewhere. So the two angles that he has available are over here and here. So Holger wants to be on the bisector of an angle to basically put himself in a position that he can cover both of these most extreme shots with roughly the same number of steps. And let's see if he does that. So he's going back to the middle, bam, and he does it. Now, the other thing that you're seeing is his split step. So his opponent is making contact about now. And I want to see, yeah, about now. So we can just see the ball there. And you see that both of Holger's feet are in the air, actually. So at this point, Holger's brain is already computing where this guy's going to hit the ball. So he has to be on top of his split step, because as he's coming down, he's moving into the direction that the ball is taken. And we see just as the ball is probably still over the service line of his opponent, he's already moving towards his left, and he's already running around his backhand. So let's look at that a little bit more, because that is to me really a fantastic sign of incredible perception. Top of the bounce, top of the split step here, and you see that the first contact is actually his outside foot, so that he can now push off with his right foot, and you already see that there is the first sign of a turn. And let's see what he continues to do. Absolutely, he's running around the backhand to find his forehand. So that is seeing what his previous ball does to his opponent. So of course, now I've talked a lot about Holger. Let's look at what Holger sees And let's look at what the balls that he's hitting are doing to his opponent, because that is really where you start making decisions. At the top of your split step, but you already see before that what is a possibility for your opponent. So let's look at this here. So it's a cross-court backhand exchange. And this is a pretty good deep ball. So nothing that he can do is probably going to be a winner attempt unless he wants to hit a very, very low percentage shot. So you see that the ball is right all the way back here. Again, this is a great bisector of an angle. So opponent dude could go this way here. So bisector of an angle is right here. He actually manages to hit a pretty deep ball, but now look at what Holger is doing. Look at the depth of that ball, and as opposed to the previous backhand, look at the preparation that the other person has. You see the racket head up here, and then you see him dropping it and driving it forward into the ball. You also see the front foot being able to step in a little bit, which is what you're not going to see on the second ball. So those are teeny tiny signs that this is going to be a ball that's going to do some damage. So you see here the racket goes up, but there's just a block. So here's the ball right there. Opponent dude's right leg is stepping to the side, so no forward transfer of the weight. So this right here, again, is where Holger can already speculate that this will be a ball that he can attack. And let's see what he does. And as we already said, on the split step, he now sees where the ball is, and it is over his opponent's service line. So this is how early a world-class player sees the ball and where it's going. And that is a huge difference, of course, to a regular player. But the things that we can take away are, of course, that you should always recover to your bisector of an angle, and that you're now possibly able to look at a few other things other than just the ball. Look at the body composition of your opponent, the body posture, I should probably say. I'm not sure if composition is the right way. So the posture there, is your opponent on balance? And I would venture at world-class level, this is not on balance because he cannot move forward. And now we have some fun here. So Holger Rune has the outside of the racket points to the side. Pretty high take back, but that's perfectly normal. And now you're seeing what options he has. So the ball is going to land somewhere around here. Holger knows that he can move up to the ball. And if you've ever seen this guy crush a forehand, this guy's in trouble because Holger can now go inside out behind the guy, or he can go inside in. And in both cases, not great chances for the other guy to win the point. But what Holger is also seeing is that this guy is pretty far back behind the baseline. Now, because of the perspective that we have, this does not look like much room. But he now has this area back here as a target. He has this area back here. And we see in a second, when you look at the hand, right here, there's a grip change. So he's computing a couple of things. Opponent far back, by the state of his shirt that it's sweated through like crazy. They've been playing for a while. So maybe he's already had lots of opportunity to nail his forehand. So now I'm going to switch into a continental grip and I'm going to attack this area of the court with a drop shot. And to my mind, this is not necessarily the absolute most fantastic drop shot there is, but you see how this guy scrambles. And now let's take it a step further. So we know that the other guy is a two-hander. See how he's struggling. He's running, he's running, he's running. He gets up there, but by how far he has his arms away from his body and where the racket face is facing, it is slightly more open. So guess what Holger sees? This is a counter drop shot. Again, this dude has not even touched the ball, and Holger is already on the way. So this, to my mind, is not necessarily the best idea that the other guy has, because I think he's got enough control over the ball that he should not drop shot back, but he does. Hasn't hit the ball yet. Look at this. Rune is already on his way. I mean, just how explosive this guy is. And let's count how many steps he's taking. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's at the ball. And now he's got everything wide open, and he does what a lot of these younger guys do, I guess. They just tee off on each other. So really, really fun decision making here. Really a lot of details that you can look at when you're watching point play. So now you see it in real motion, of course. To me, that's just fantastic. Court perception, seeing the court, keeping into consideration what the opponent is doing, and then making really, really good choices.